Live. Good evening. Good evening, beautiful people, wherever you may be. My name is Liam. This is a live presentation of poetry which is dedicated to the cause of peace. This presentation will be divided into 3 different parts: the introduction, the reading of as yet unpublished work, talking about the poetry itself, understanding it within the context of peace. What is peace? Where do we find peace? What does peace mean to us? What does peace do with us? What is the power of peace? And what is the strength of peace for each and every one of us in a world which has become suddenly shocked, terrified, worried by this despicable war which has been perpetrated by a single individual, Putin in Russia, against Ukraine. That leaves us, that affects all of us, that has something to do with all of us. And we can't let that negative energy influence us. And thereby the presentation this evening is understanding the meaning of peace in all of its manifestation. My name is Liam. I'm here presenting live from a very, very beautiful little town in northern Germany called Eckernförde. It's been a perfect spring day. It's been beautiful and warm. I was actually swimming this morning in the Baltic Sea. It was magnificent. What a beautiful day it's been. And now at the end of the day, to present my bi-weekly poetry, which has now been going on for over 2 years. It's incredible. This I initiated just after the beginning of the COVID lockdown. And here we are. I'm still busy at it. Well, for the first time, as you can see, I've got no hair left on my head. I have not been introduced to a Buddhist monastery and shaved my head. No, I have a treatment, a chemotherapy treatment, and as a consequence of that, I have lost my hair. I must say, I am feeling incredibly strong, vital, clear-headed after the second chemotherapy, which I had on Friday, and I'm absolutely amazed that I seem to be carrying it off with such ease. The first chemotherapy was difficult. As you can see, I lost my hair, and the second, and this will continue probably until September, October of this year. So, after 2 years of a hairy head, all that's left now are my eyebrows. But it's definitely new for me to walk around and have a cold head. You have to wear a hat, but nevertheless, it has not held me back in my intention and my will and in my creativity to share these powerful, interesting, dynamic, important thoughts which move all of us, each and every one of us, wherever we live. Thoughts about peace, and especially thoughts which are wrapped within the magic, the dynamic, the beauty of poetry. So, you as an audience, I'm here to share something to give something to you and for you to experience this gift in its deepest and most meaningful way, I always urge you to try something called divergent focus. We all know what convergent focus means. When we read a book, whatever we're focusing on doing mathematics, that is convergent. Divergent is the opposite. You lean back, you turn off any distractions around you, and you put the focus on your listening. So you listen deeply, and thereby enabling the poetry, the words, the flow, the music, the content, the ideas, the magic, to lighten up in your own conscious and subconscious mind. And that's special because when an idea lights up within you, it means that's something that is already resident within yourself. And it might just enable you to express an idea in your own way, in your own life with another person, and thereby spread the message. So, the third part of the evening, I will be reading poetry, your poetry. This is from a second edition of my new Millennium poetry. And how this works is that after listening for approximately 20 minutes to half an hour, then I ask you to actually type in a page number from here. This particular volume goes to 250 pages of poems, between 1 and 250. And then what I do, intuitively, I go to that page and I read you your poem. Nicole, thank you. Yeah, something completely different. Yeah, I will read your poem to you. So that's the third part, so don't leave. That's really special because intuition, as you know and I know, is something which moves through space and time. And it's so often that a poem chosen by a listener is something which really is pertinent to them at this particular moment. So stay with me and listen up. The evening begins with what I called my motto. As I mentioned, this presentation is dedicated to peace, and so is the motto, which is the intention from which my poetry springs, the ideas that I write from. And I'd like to share it with you because I find this very it's very powerful for me, and I think it's important for you to know where I'm coming from. The motto which moves me: the very best is the deep space in which I live, which I learn and succeed in creating that which cannot be taken by fire or force, but can be shared with you and all for the purpose of peace. So nothing, no fire and force and fear can take what we create and what we share when it's our purpose to do so. It's an important reminder. Good evening, Carol. Wonderful that you made it. So keep that in mind when we hear all of this terrible news, which in a way paralyzes us at times. Don't be paralyzed. Don't let that negativity take your peace. Instead, search for your peace, for no fire and force can take that from you. Here's a little poem that I finished yesterday. I must say, I have not been writing that much since the chemotherapy has begun. It definitely causes a lot of mind fog, but nevertheless, as I said, I'm feeling, starting to feel ever better, and this is something which popped up yesterday that I would love to share with you, and it's called divine. The divine. The divine. Whatever the divine means to you, and however you experience the divine, listen up now with your divergent focus. Undistracted, close your eyes, lean back, and open your hearing. Love, oh love, how strong and strange, how long and deep you pull me towards that which quietly calls quietude. In the mysterious meaning of what we seeking, strive towards and wonder, amazingly shown how to find this place, this divinity is God's guide to grace. So it's love which pulls us. And love in the context, not of just emotional love, which of course we all know, we've all had, we've all experienced. But love is an incredibly powerful energy which surpasses so much more than just the intimacy of two people with one another. But it's the love for life itself. It's the love for each and every other being that we share this planet with. It's the love for the magic of each and every day that we share, and the things that, and the people that we share them with, and the sentient creatures that live in this world and share it with us. All of this is enraptured in the fundamental idea of love. So when that pulls us strong and strange, long and deep, it pulls you towards yourself, towards your deepest self. And in that quietude, in that quiet space, is the mysterious meaning. There we discover the mysterious meaning of divinity. And this is God's guide to grace. All right, very good evening. A live poetry evening from northern Germany. My name is Liam, and I'm happy that you're here. Please listen up. We're moving on a journey this evening, a journey which will take us into a deeper understanding of what peace is and where it comes from and how it affects us in its strength and in its power. Peace is something incredibly powerful, and it's this peace that we need to reach out with and overcome all of the fear and the misunderstanding and the madness of what's happening in Ukraine. We can overcome it through peace. This little poem is called If. If. How many ifs have we spoken in our lives? So if speaks to us now, and it says, if you want laughter, accept these smiles. If you want friendship, enjoy the while. If you want the moon, feel the night. If you want the stars, open up to the light. If you want the rose, thorns too will create pain. If you want to love, be true to yourself again. If you want the moment, leave the past before. If you want the self, look only to a cosmic door. If you want grace, step into the inner space. And if you want peace, be with God's grace. Yeah, there we have it again. Peace. Be in contact with the grace of God. And where is it? Where do we go? Where does that journey take us to find the grace of God, the deep inner strength of one's own higher, powerful, spiritual being? We find that deep within ourselves. The next poem, this one is called The Mind of Now. And the mind of now is an appeal, as you will hear. It's an appeal to being wide awake to what it is that we do and how we perceive what it is and how it is that we live. The mind of now. Live the full life of the mind, continuously seeking out exquisite peace. Actually, the tranquility to perceive it. Be exhilarated by new ideas. Be intoxicated by the romance of the unknown. Life, not mine alone, but ours, loves breathing with the seasons too. Sparkling with the starlight, laughing with the children. They are reminders of me. They are memories of who I used to be before now. Being beautiful, being enough, being mindful, being true to you, being me to who I was born to be. I'm not my mind. It's fullness which fills me though. My mind, yours too, or who? So, the mind of now, live the full life of the mind. Be true to you, being me to who I was born to be. That's, I think for me, a very significant line in this little poem, where it says, being me to who I was born to be. We are all born to be true. True to who? True to ourselves. Where do we go to find ourselves? Yeah, it's the fullness, it's the richness, which fills me though. Yeah. The mind of now. Time. This little poem is about this ephemeral moment of now. We always talk about mindfulness and quietude and peacefulness, but each and every one of us are locked into the ticking of the clock from the morning when we wake until we lie to sleep. It's time which captures us and forms the days and months of the lives we live until that moment comes when again we stand before the door of leaving this body and leaving this life and rejoining the world of the invisible. And this poem is dedicated to the quality of time. In time, it's the clock or the pencil's written song, or a moment's recognition about where we belong. At times it's the lock on the prisoner's door, or Jacob who left and returned home to more. From time we charge, towards time we run, the rising, the setting of the moon and sun. Yet in it we are a beginning and an end. So where do we start when it's time to begin? Is it here or there? Is it up or down? Or simply the quietude of sitting down? So we live within the ticking of time, but nevertheless, from time we charge towards time we run. Yet in it we are a beginning and an end. So where do we start when it's time to begin? Where do we start when it's time to begin? When we realize that the life that we share is finite and it will one day end. And in that is the question every single human being needs to strive towards. Why? What is the meaning of this life all about? Yeah? And this next poem is called Life. And it's the journey. We all have a journey, our own individual journeys of understanding, of discovery, of surpassing fear and worry and misunderstanding, and moving towards a place within ourselves which is filled with peace. Peace from which we can grow stronger, clearer, and more emancipated from the past which might have held us back. Understanding in a deeper way our own meaning and our own responsibility for the life that we lead. So this little poem is called Life. As we people come and go, let it be peace between us flow. Let the thoughts we have to create this day be thoughts which help each and every way what we see and what we do. Let these be deeds through which both you and I can support a weaker one, a slower sport. For life we have and life we share, around us in nature everywhere, this magnificence of a waking bud, a branch in spring, before the flood of summer green transforms all around that can be seen. Life so sweet, so rich and true. Life flows with the tide of me and you. Let's make it good, for short the trick between the waking babe and the walking stick. Let's make it good, for short the trick. The trick is also, it's an old sailing term, and it means that the journey. The trick is a euphemism for the journey. So let's make it good, for short the journey between the waking babe, birth, the birth of the child, and the walking stick of the old men and women that we one day too will also become. Yeah, a poem about life. So let's have a look at the time. Good. You still with me? Please stay with you. I'm dying to write down your poem, so we'll do that just in a few more minutes. So, of course, I've still got so much poetry to read you, but I see I'm not going to read it all, but what I am going to do, I'm going to read you another poem about life, which I've got here, and it's called Journey is Love. I found this poem actually this evening before our poetry reading, just by chance. It was lying in, one of my folders, and I hadn't even named it, so this one just fell out of the box. So I'm reading this after having forgotten about it for a very long time, and it's called Journey is Love. I've looked for love since forever. These pieces, each a part of the me, found in a puzzle called life, leading back to the whole picture of love. Hidden for all to find, written for all to read, spoken for all to hear. What need I forsake to take this home with me? My eyes, my thoughts, my hearing, let me cast them over the cliff of understanding. Let me hurl my inhibitions into a pit of passion, embracing a heart burning like the center of the sun, humble like dew, caressing a blossom, at peace with moments I know. Take this hand and come. Just flow. So the journey of love. We all are on a journey of love to find that deep, powerful peace of love. Take my hand and come and flow. So, the last poem before I start reading yours. Good evening, whoever is there. Wonderful that you've made it. Thank you for your perseverance. I think it is amazing that you take your time just to listen to these words. It's a great gift, and I'm very grateful to all of you for listening. A journey to the center of the soul. As I mentioned, discovering peace in oneself, in all of us, is a journey. Mine has been a long one. I've been writing poetry now continuously for 14 years. And it's a journey where we begin creating our lives from the inside out. To be creative will always mean that it's coming forth from you and you bringing it into the world. And this is an incredible power, not only to create and write, but it's a power to transform your life into something which is beautiful, full of love and peace and contentment. And this is a poem describing that journey. A journey to the center of the soul. I too have traveled, true wide and further, mountains traversed, oceans crossed, and deserts wandered. Only after I immobilized my body, literally stopped moving, did true journey begin. This was truly amazing. Not the movement of a muscle, nor the twitch of an eyelid. Yet it was further away than I had ever ventured before. I decided to make the journey to the very deepest, the very most hidden core of myself. It was a journey, for it was not made in a day. This took weeks, took months, where I meditated quietly, each time returning with insights to my day. Firstly, the treasure of my past, in its detail, in its glory, in its pain, and in its healing. Thereafter, things became different. I wasn't going somewhere. I was becoming something, merging with a field of energetic possibilities. It is a melting, it is a dissolving, it is an absorbing. Funny, in this, we never for a moment lose ourselves, though. That which is intrinsically me, that which was before my birth, that which will remain after leaving this sheath. This was my guide as I vanished. This was my keeper as I merged. This was the center of nothing. This was the core of peace. And this is the journey I began. I am and forever will be traveling. So, the journey to the center of the soul. So, dear listeners, now it's your turn. Pauline, what a pleasure. Greetings all the way from Ireland, Australia. Where are you? Everyone, you've got a comment bar at the bottom of this live presentation video, and it would be wonderful if you type in a page number from 1 to 250. This is from the second volume, and I will read you intuitively a poem which you have sought out, just by writing in the number of the page. That's all you have to do. So go ahead. I hope that I can actually read your page numbers. Anyone like to add a page number for me? Then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to intuitively read a poem for you, and it's a little poem called The Blossom, on page 167. Page 167. Good evening, Mum. I think you have eventually been able to log on. It's right at the end of the evening. I asking you to type in a number, a page number from 1 to 250, and I will read you a poem from that page of my second volume of new Millennium poetry, which, of course, if you're interested, you can find on Amazon. Just type in Liam Kennedy in Amazon books, and you will find 3 volumes, volume 1, volume 2, and volume 3. So, page 167. And this poem is called The Blossom. And it's to you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Out beyond the right and wrong, you will find a field green and sky. Don't wait for tomorrow. Don't even be entangled with yesterday. Meet me. Let the grey of today slide from your mind. Fly, for it's now, it's in this very moment that flowers blossom. It's yours, mine too, forever. The moment of a blossoming flower. It's yours, it's mine, forever. So, time's almost up. The last poem, I just turned the page, and it's a poem called The Flowers. And it's simply just a simple poem about a bowl of flowers on a table. A bowl of flowers on the table stood. In a pool of sun, the wet colours stood like a watercolour painting which timelessly spins, radiate, streaming sweet scent, and the stems, stamen, petals, blossoms woven, held a dancing bouquet by a crystal bowl, now mine, she did say. My mother's gift from her mother's hand too. The colours it's carried from me onto you. From her onto me, then out and away. Fill me with joy's sweet memory this day of the daffodils, chrysanthemums, and lilacs too, of lilies in blossom, of red roses and you. Days now no longer but full blossom, sweet scented care of moments like these when you're no longer there. Still beauty shines inward, caught in a vase, the flowers, the memories, the joys, and the charms. And so with that, everyone, thank you very much for being there. Stay safe, stay healthy, but most important, find that inner peace in that deep inner place and connect with it and share it. And let's make this world a more beautiful, happy and loving place to be for everyone on it. God bless. Namaste. Good night. Thank you for being there.